So guys, let's start the first game. The first game, we have a game between Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. And Nottingham Forest in the recent game, everyone knows what's happened. They had a final loss against Arsenal, and that was a terrible one. And Arsenal was just levels ahead. It was boys against men. Everyone knows that FIFA line when the commentator says boys against men. And then the game it was. Like Nottingham Forest had no answer for Arsenal. Arsenal was just a level or two ahead. But in this game against Brentford, Nottingham Forest need to start getting some victories, because against when you verse the top 6, the top 8 clubs, you're going to struggle. But Brentford have not been on the best run recently. Like Brentford struggle to win against a Wolves side. Like Wolves are not being the greatest team right now. And when Brentford played Wolves in the recent game, yes, Diego Costa got sent off the 90+7 minute, but it's Diego Costa at the end of the day. This guy's notorious for getting red cards. But in that game, Brentford should have really won. Yes, it was kind of a still my opinion. I feel like both teams didn't do a lot, and I feel like the draw was deserved from both teams. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like Brentford are going to bounce back, but I feel like Nottingham Forest need this win in whatever Nottingham Forest stadium is. So my score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So guys, let's move on to the next game. So the next game, we have a game between Wolves versus Brighton. And Wolves in the recent game had a stalemate game against Brentford. I think both teams came out with what they deserved at the end of the day, which was a draw. But even though Brentford had more possession of the ball and had more passes, but the game was pretty stalemate. I feel like Brentford didn't really have the possession and didn't really play the game which they really wanted to. And with Wolves, they need to start winning some games. As I said, same as Nottingham Forest. Currently, they're sitting 19th position with 2 wins, 4 draws, 7 losses. And if Wolves carry on this way, the next thing you know, they're going down. And guess what's happening? As soon as they go down, they're losing all the big players. Adama Traore is going, Ruben Neves is going, Raul Jimenez, because these players are Premier League quality, so they ain't going to stay in Wolves and play a year in the Championship. So if I was Wolves, I'll be very concerned right now. And they need to sign a manager. Recently, they contacted the QPR manager, but he declined the job. So if I was Wolves right now, they need to start showing that any manager who comes in, they don't want to get sacked. And the players act to show that they're good players, and it was the manager's fault who recently led to the team to lose. So guys, let's move on to Brighton. What a game against Chelsea. The 4-1 victory was incredible. Like, they dominated all aspects of the game. And yes, Chelsea scored 2 own goals, but I feel like it wasn't one of those own goals where it was just a mistake. I feel like Brighton were about to score, but then the Chelsea players tried to put a last-minute tackle, but it was already going in. It was one of those. And like in that game, it was an absolute domination. And this is not the comeback which Graham Potter wanted to have. Yes, he lives in Brighton, so he would absolutely take the mick off. He probably isn't the rich part of Brighton, let's be real. It's Graham Potter, he's a Premier League manager. He's earning millions and millions. But Brighton in the game against Roberto Zerbi is incredible. Like, Graham Potter has led the fundamentals, and Roberto Zerbi just has to polish and make sure they're going the right way, and that's exactly what he did, and they deserve the 4-1 victory. So my score prediction for Wolves against Brighton, I'm going to go for Brighton with the 3-0 victory. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Man City versus Fulham. And Man City in the recent game had a 1-0 narrow victory over Leicester City. But in that game, let's be real, Haaland wasn't playing and Phil Foden didn't start. So they didn't have the best team, but what a great free kick from Kevin De Bruyne. This man has been probably the best Premier League midfielder for the last 4 or 5 years, like continuously, and probably one of the best over the last 3 years. And this guy, I don't know how he's not won a Ballon d'Or. He's been incredible most of the years. I just feel like him not winning any international titles has really has really taken a hit on him winning the Ballon d'Or. And a lot of Premier League players never get recognised for how great they can be, with Mo Salah, with Kevin De Bruyne. But in that game, he was incredible. And Leicester are not a bad team. Like, yes, this year they've been quite bad, but overall they're quite a good team, and he did really want that. But everyone's the big question: is Haaland going to be back in time? Everyone knows that he's going to miss the Champions League game this coming Wednesday, so currently as I'm recording this, and there's a lot of doubt, is he going to play on Saturday? I think he will, but if not, I need to get him out, and because in FPL I'm falling behind and I need that point. But let's move on to Fulham. Fulham in the recent games, Everton actually did very well, but they just couldn't. It was one of those games where Fulham had most of the possession. I think there's something like 24 shots, 5 on target, and they just couldn't convert at the end of the day. Every team has that one game where they just dominate for the whole game and just cannot convert. But in saying that, Alexander Mitrovic, he actually had a couple of chances where he should have scored, but he hasn't been clinical as I thought he would. He started the season very clinical, finishing everything very good, but slowly he's taking a dip. And Fulham have actually been quite decent this year, but it's too early to say are they going to have safety. And currently, the way they're going, I think they will get safety this year, but they need to make sure they win the next couple of games. But I think this game is Man City is going to be a very tough one. So my score prediction for this game, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Man City. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Leeds United versus Bournemouth. And Leeds United in the recent game went away in Anfield and got a 2-1 victory. I think Leeds were the first team to ever give Virgil van Dijk a loss in the Premier League at Anfield. I think that's a stat, because I know Liverpool have lost at Anfield against Atletico Madrid. But Liverpool Anfield is incredible. But in that game, Leeds played really well. Jesse Marsch and his men set up so well in that game, and they actually played quite well, as I said. What Leeds did really well in that game is that they actually had a lot of possession of the ball. They're passing the ball around. With Leeds, whenever they had possession of the ball and they passed the ball around, they actually did really well. Yes, the first goal was a mistake from Gomez. Virgil van Dijk was sleeping. But still, at the end of the day, the striker was in the right place, the right time. And then the 89th minute winner from Leeds was incredible, in my opinion. But let's go to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, what a disappointing game against Tottenham, in my opinion. Tottenham were there for the taking. Like, Bournemouth did really well. I forgot what's his name, Jeffrey something. He scored 2 very good goals, but I don't know how they led Tottenham to win that game. Like, Bournemouth have had the problem this year. I remember, was the game against Nottingham Forest where they were 2-0 up going to half-time and then they lost 3-2 at the end. This has been a very common thing with Bournemouth. Like, it really shows the quality. Like, yes, significantly Tottenham are better at the end of the day, but like, going 2 goals up, you should have really parked the bus on Tottenham and you should have really gone and carried on the way they were playing. But what they did is that the set pieces were quite poor, and that's what affected them. So my score prediction, 3-1 Leeds. Guys, down to the next game. So next game we have a game between Everton versus Leicester City. And Everton in the recent game really got away with one, in my opinion. Like, Everton, that game won good as the game before they were. 3, 2, 1, go. So guys, the next game we have 3, 2, 1, go. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Everton versus Leicester City. And Everton, the recent game, I really thought they got away with one. In that game, in Craven Cottage against Fulham, Everton really didn't do the best. Like, the game week before at home, they absolutely smashed Crystal Palace with 3-0 victory. And they absolutely dominated on all cylinders. But in this game, I really thought the game plan going into this game wasn't the right one, where they really invited all the pressure from Fulham. And if Jordan Pickford didn't save the amount of shots he did at the end of the day, and if Fulham had a bit more finishing, they could have easily lost that game. But at the end of the day, Everton came with a draw. But Everton this year, I've got most of the victories at home, and I feel like this game is Leicester City. I think they were going to win, because at home, the last recent game, they absolutely dominated at home, and everyone saw how Dominic Calvert-Lewin sold the defender. What's the guy's name? Ben Godfrey or Gordon? He is incredible. And then who was the last one? Dwight McNeil with a great goal. But with Leicester City, in the recent game against Man City, I actually thought they did okay at the King Power Stadium. Like, they had 5 shots on target. Yes, possession's always going to be Man City. With any team who plays Man City, unless you're like a Arsenal, a Chelsea or United, you're always going to get dominated possession. Like, or even a Liverpool, like, you're always getting dominated by possession. Like, possession with Man City, you're never going to have any of that. But I feel like the way Leicester City counteracted the game was quite good, and only losing 1-0 wasn't a bad result, in my opinion. But then you start winning this game. Prediction for this game, I feel like Everton are going to win with the 1-0 victory. So guys, let's move to the first game of Sunday. The first game of Sunday, we have a game between Chelsea versus Arsenal. Both teams are at a very different point right now. Let's start with Chelsea. Chelsea in the past couple of games are going quite poor, in my opinion. The game against United, they did okay, to be fair. Like, ever since Graham Power made the change for Kovacic for Cucurella, they did very well in that game. And yes, they got the penalty, they got the lead, but luckily Man United made a comeback. I was so happy with that, because in my opinion, Man United dominated for most of the game, and we should have really got the victory in that. But the recent game against Brighton, everyone knows what happened. They had a 4-1 loss, and I think it was well deserved. And I feel like it was imposter syndrome from Graham Power. Like, I feel like this man feels like he's a bit out of the job, he's a bit out of depth. I think he's the right man for the job, but for every manager, it just takes a bit of time. And I feel like Chelsea's the worst team to have that, because they never give any of the manager time. Look at Thomas Tuchel. This guy took them to a UEFA Cup final, FA Cup final, won them the Champions League. Yes, it didn't work out for them. The football was quite boring, but at the end of the day, you got the results. But under Graham Potter, it's not the same thing. And with Arsenal, it's so juxtaposition. Like, Arsenal, they're just with flying colours right now. Yes, they lost to PSV in the Europa League, but they're already through in the group. But after that, just like Arsenal was just being on a different level this year. The players assigned is just incredible. Like, Gabriel Martinelli is really good. Bukayo Saka, so good. And I feel like easily probably the title contenders or even the title winners, as currently we're speaking, with first position, and let's see how many points they clear off. They're the 2 points clear of Man City, and everyone's saying Man City going to win the league. So I don't think a lot of teams are putting respect on Arsenal, and I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans, I just said, they're taking one step at a time. I'm going to go for Arsenal to 2-0 victory. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Aston Villa versus Man United. And this Aston Villa side is going to have a new manager under the name of Unai Emery. Yes, Unai Emery did the best job at Arsenal. He nearly got them top 4 and did get them to a Europa League final, but unfortunately they lost to Chelsea side. But look what he did at Villarreal. Got to them UEFA Champions League semi-final. He took them to, won them the Europa League against Man United. And it's always Man United who's going to go against a Unai Emery side. With Unai Emery, it's not his force of football, but the way he really plays, like he holds back, he parks the bus, and he just makes you attack, and then he counter-attacks with some players, and then they go through. And I feel like with Man United, that could be a big problem, because we had the problem against Chelsea where we just didn't convert chances. Chelsea went and scored, and then we were catching up again. This is the problem which Man United have had in the Europa League and even in the Premier League in some aspects. But with Aston Villa, they're quality players. Let's be real. They have Philippe Coutinho, Diego Carlos, unfortunately with his ACL, Leon Bailey, Matty Cash. They're incredible players. So it's going to be a tough game for Man United. But Man United in the recent game had a very hard-fought victory against West Ham. And with West Ham, everyone knows they're a quality side with quality players, with Pablo Fornals, Said Benrahma. And I feel like the Man United game was a bad approach from us, because when we went toe-to-toe with them, we did quite well. And I think towards the end, we just made sure we just didn't want to give the game away. And I feel like Fred at the post, we could have gone 2-0 up. But at the end of the day, we got the victory, and that's what matters. But in this game, I feel like this game is going to be a very, very hard-fought victory against the Unai Emery side. I feel like it's going to be a 1-1 draw. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Southampton versus Newcastle. And Southampton, the recent game, had a 1-0 loss against Crystal Palace. And in that game, Southampton switched off, which allowed them to lose that game. I feel like Southampton in that game played really well, in my opinion. They had more possession, more shots, and more shots on target. But as I said, one lapse in judgment, Crystal Palace went out there and scored. And I feel like with Southampton, that's been the story of their life this year. Either they've got absolutely smashed, where in games where they could have won, like just a couple of moments in the game where they've switched off and another team has scored, and then they just have lost the game. And with Southampton, this game is like Crystal Palace. They need to be winning, because when you're coming into like a Newcastle side, it's over for you. Like Newcastle in the recent game absolutely smashed Aston Villa with a 4-0 victory. And I feel like this game is going to be the same. Like everyone in that team, in the Newcastle side, under Eddie Howe, just knows how to play the ball. So my score prediction for this game, I believe Newcastle is going to win this game with a 3-0 victory. Next game we have is a game between West Ham versus Crystal Palace. And this is a London derby. West Ham in the recent game had a very narrow loss to Man United. But in that game, I really thought West Ham could have actually made a draw and go out there and won. Like the saves David De Gea made was incredible. And Harry Maguire made a stop at the end. But the way, how much quality West Ham have this year is just incredible. Said Benrahma, Paqueta, Gianluca Scamacca, who's been, okay, yes, he hasn't been firing on all cylinders, but you can see that he has potential out there. Jared Bowen, Soufal, Souček, who was Craig Dawson, all of these people have been incredible for West Ham. And the way David Moyes has set up this team, they're going deep in the Conference League, and I genuinely think they could win the Conference League this year. Last year, got to a Europa League semi-final and lost to a team who went out there to Frankfurt, who beat Rangers in the final. So this game against Crystal Palace is going to be tough one for West Ham. But Crystal Palace in the last game are actually coming off a decent victory against Southampton. Should they have won that game? I don't think so. But once again, they made sure they just counter-attacked, and Patrick Vieira's men set up also really well. I don't think so the quality of Crystal Palace is good as the quality of West Ham, and I feel like this is going to be a major factor in this. And West Ham in the London Stadium is a different gravy to West Ham away. I feel like West Ham away this year have been quite poor in most times, but West Ham at home have been different gravy. And I feel like this is a problem with a lot of teams, like teams which are trying to catch up. Like at home, they're incredible with the fan support, but away they struggle. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like it's going to be a West Ham victory, but it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a 3-2 West Ham victory. So guys, let's move to the last game of match week 15 on the last game of Sunday. We have a game between Tottenham versus Liverpool. And Tottenham in the recent game, they've actually been on forward watch over the last couple of games. They had back-to-back losses against Man United and Newcastle, but they really needed a bounce-back game against Bournemouth, and just about got that. Bournemouth actually played really well in the first half, where Spurs this year, like under Antonio Conte, his Fosso system is being exposed. Maybe the team which like where he did with Chelsea is not the same way he could do with Tottenham. Maybe the quality is not the same. But I feel like the quality from Chelsea to Tottenham from 2016 to 2022 it's been pretty much similar. Like he signed the players he wants, and he's got the players he wants at the end of the day, and he's got quality players in Son Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, but somehow they just can't find a way. But yesterday in the Champions League, Europa League, in the Champions League, they got a very odd-fought victory with a 2-1 victory and made them go through the group. At one point, they want to get kicked out, and that would have been an absolute joke because everyone knows how much of a ball job Spurs are. Like, I feel like with Tottenham, no one knows how to play to be creative. They don't have any creative players. How defensive they play doesn't allow that. Like Rodrigo Bentancur, he's the one, I genuinely feel like he's the only one who can actually make some kind of chances. Let's move on to Liverpool. Liverpool in the recent game, whereas Tottenham made a comeback, Liverpool couldn't make a comeback. Like Liverpool did make a comeback where Leeds went out with a 1-0 victory, was pulled from Joe Gomez, Alisson and Van Dijk. But Alisson, you can't really blame him for how well he's done for most of the season. But as I say, like this year, Liverpool and Tottenham have been a fraud watch. Like Liverpool, how can you go from going second last year, absolutely dominating, and only losing out 1 point or like a point or 2 points to Man City, to this year? Let's see, how many points are off the tile? Liverpool 16-31 was that, 16-26, 15 points of the title chance. And I don't think the top four is looking so far away from Liverpool. I feel like it's going to be a draw. I feel like it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed my matchday 15 prediction. Guys, please put all your predictions in the comment section below. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, do the usual, and I'll see you later. Peace.